40. There's 2 part numbers for the Powershift and the Quadrange, because supposedly the Quadrange and the Powershift run in opposite directions, so the crown wheel position is different. And the wreckers gave me these part numbers for the this is to suit the Powershift, whereas this tractor here is the Quadrange. So this is the part they've been supplied afterwards. With these, the manual says to pull the crown wheel out, but supposedly, which I'm just about to do, you can pull the pin out, you know, to press the pin out and put it in separately and just get a bolt. I'm yet to do it. I'm going to do it, but it can be done apparently. And so the actual use, what this actually does, I don't actually know. It's got this lug which lines up with the, it's like a load sensing. If someone wants to explain to me, more than welcome to. So underneath all this is the 3-point leakage load control. Sorry, a 3-point leakage box on top, sits on top of the transmission. It's quite heavy, so bought it from the wreckers up in northern New South Wales. It has the load arms, the caps, the actual remotes is capped off. There's a bit of damage to the pipes and stuff, but they'll be right, we fix it up. And so you just buy it as a complete thing. You buy all the arms. I have pulled off the original top, so it just doesn't have the arms, doesn't have anything inside it. And this is what it looks like inside. And down the bottom now, we're installing the 3-bolt mount for the load sense arm. Everything in here looks pretty good. The cat's been off it for about a week, 2 weeks. Would have been nice to put it back together straight away, but the wreckers gave me the wrong one. But they were really helpful, and they didn't charge me for the privilege of having the right part. They express posted to me. So this is the original. As you can see, it has no arms. It has most of the things. I'm pretty sure you could buy you could buy everything individually and fit it all yourself, but you got to pull everything apart. Once I fit the new top to the diff, I'll transfer these remote things over, and everything else should just connect up. Now, whilst I'm here, it's really difficult. It can be really difficult to get these. I did pressure wash this all off and got the air compressor, but obviously didn't get all of it. I've cleaned it up, and before I sat the new one of these on the top of the cradle over there, I polished underneath it so that it's ready to go. And they do in the manual say there's a tool for fitting it in terms of like a jib. You mount it to a certain something and it can slide in a lot easier. But as you can tell, I don't have a concrete floor yet. I'm getting one soon, and so we'll just have to persevere to get it in there. Righto, so I've had to pull this out again. The trouble I had was the bolt thread was too long and the nut was hard up against the side of the case. And so when I did the bolt right up, there's a little bit of thread poking out. It actually pushed the bottom mount away, so the holes in the bottom of the diff housing wouldn't line up with this mount. Now, obviously I could cut it down or cut half a nut down or find a skinnier nut, but it took me like 4 hours just to get the nut on and the nut done up tight. So instead I'm going for a split pin, 1/8 size split pin, 1/8 hole, and it should be a lot more simpler. Also, the decreased length should make it a lot easier to navigate. To get that actual bolt all the way in and all the way out, I had to really jiggle this around and get on a certain angle to miss the crown wheel of the diff and the other crap in there that I can't really see. And so I'm going to clean this up and go for a second install. I've also cut off the tip of this bolt. I don't know why, something in there fouled on something, so that should make it easy. Righto, back. So, I had to cut off this little corner here to get it to fit in, to go around the crown wheel. Now when I first put it in, I had a bit of trouble getting in. Now on these diff carrier housings, there is a square cutaway, so the square flat bevel edge. And the trick is you'll work it out when you put yours in there. Get it to go in there, put it on an angle, and as it goes in, sort of twist it, make it fall in. Now that'll sit there until it gets to that point. This is where you got to jack the wheel up, and you got to, as you spin it, it will push, roll it around, and it will fall in a way, because of the square edge. Sort of your load sensor arm needs to follow that as it goes around. Then it's a bit of just tricky getting it in there and then getting your bottom mount in, which I don't bolt. Righto, right here we have the transmission pump for a John Deere 4240. I've had it off for about a month. Just want to take a video of this and put it up, because I'm sure someone out there is looking for something like this. So inside it's got a square hex drive, as you can square six-sided hex drive, and this here is the drive shaft. Now, from what I've read, this shaft goes from the very front of the flywheel or the clutch assembly, or pretty much driven straight off the engine. You can see, you might be able to see it there, where it's been sitting in there, and then halfway along, it's also been rubbing on that, and that's where it rubs on or wears on the inside of the pump. Now, I've heard that when you don't have any transmission oil, one of the first things to check is to pull the plug out of the back of this and essentially pull it out. And if you only get half of it out, that means you've snapped your shaft. And if you pull it all the way out and your ends rounded it off, it means that you need to pull your tractor apart to replace the inner spline, or try your luck at trying to get this out, which I don't think you will, and replace your hex drive shaft to the rear transmission. Alrighty, getting close to the end. So this is the top of the load control arm thing. Now I took off the follower cam to fit the top rocker assembly, or top hat of the diff, to make it easy. As you can see, there's very little clearance, and to only get that in there, as the wrecker bloke said, you had to lift up the whole cab to get it over. And I wasn't going to do that, so I took it off. And so now I just got a delicate task with a magnet of putting it back on with the washer and then the split pin, and I do it with a magnet, so in case I let go of it or whatever, it doesn't go all the way to the bottom, because if it does, it'd be very difficult to get it out. And so since this is automotive clear silicon, I've re-put that pressure pipe back on, and I put this side back on, and I've reconnected the seat accumulator cylinder and supply hose. And I had to tie it up at some point, tie this up, stop it from hitting me, because it fell on my hand once, and going around all the bolts up, and just fitted all the supplied from the wrecker, the linkages for the remotes and 3-point linkage control. And once I've fitted the rock shaft control assembly module, I'll then reconnect these and put the remotes back on, and then go in the cab and connect it all up in the cab. Yep, so that fitted now, and I shoved a rag down there and to stop anything from falling down, and it come quite handy. So I just tipped all the hydraulic oil, transmission oil back into it. A lot easier to do it than that, and through that where we get an airlock.